I felt it was the fashion community getting the right to say nigger without saying it. To be like, yo, we know you come through stepping on necks and all that and what you do in your approaches things and stuff, but if you get out of line, boy, we gonna roast you. And it affected me because I'm an artist, and it affected me emotionally. It's like all these things were like almost set up to put me on meds, to break me down. The robbery, like I don't know where that, where that.
Wake up, Mr. West. Oh, he's up.
I be caught up in the thing the way you know me. Beans, marina, tailway, coasting. See, it's cool to be a real estate agent. That's why I helped her with the car payment. Young to be alive. We never gonna die. I just have to get the vibe and person to get. Move on up in the sky.
They tried to silence Kanye West. Oh, they absolutely did. And before you roll your eyes and say he brought it all on himself, let me just ask you one thing. Why did a man get hospitalized, strapped down in his own home, and come out of that hospital on 7 times his normal medication, right after he started calling out the most powerful people in the music industry by name? Right after he told a stadium full of people that radio was programmed against certain artists? Right after he went after Jay-Z, Beyonce, the labels, the corporations, and basically the entire machine that had been running his career? I'm just asking. Because the timing? Honey, the timing is very suspicious. And the craziest part? Kanye himself has been saying this for years. He didn't just hint at it. He sat across from Charlemagne the God in 2018 and said point blank that his breakdown was caused by, and I quote, fear, stress, control, being controlled, manipulation, being a pawn in the chess game of life. Word on the street is that a lot of the people around him during that period knew exactly how far gone things had gotten, and some of them did nothing, or worse. Now, industry whistleblowers like Cat Williams and Dave Chappelle have been out here for years saying that Hollywood has a very specific playbook for when an artist gets too loud, too honest, and too hard to manage. And every single one of those whistleblowers has paid a price for saying it out loud. So when Kanye starts going through the same thing, you have to wonder. You really do. There is a lot to unpack here, so grab a chair because we are getting into all of it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button right now because this video is only the beginning. Now, in case you somehow missed everything that happened in 2016, and honestly, it was a lot. Here is the short version. November 19th, 2016. Kanye West is in Sacramento on his St. Pablo tour. He walks out on stage, grabs the mic, and proceeds to deliver what can only be described as a controlled demolition of every relationship he had in the industry. He called out Jay-Z directly. He called out Beyonce. He talked about Mark Zuckerberg. He said radio was programmed and that after L.A. Reid left Universal, his airplay quietly disappeared. And then, within a matter of days, his entire tour was canceled. And shortly after that, he was strapped down at his own home and taken to UCLA Medical Center on an involuntary psychiatric hold. The official reason given to the public was exhaustion. Mind you, this is a man who had been performing at the highest level of the entertainment industry for over a decade without ever being exhausted enough to be handcuffed in his own house. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Kanye later broke down exactly what happened to his medication during that hospitalization. Before he went in, he was taking 2 pills a day. When he came out, he had a prescription for 7. He went from 2 to 7. And he told Charlemagne directly, the reason why I denounced, why I dropped those tweets and everything, because I was drugged the fuck on out, bro. He said they had him scared of his own vision, scared of his own thoughts. He said he took the extra pills specifically so he wouldn't end up back in the hospital and prove everyone right. And get this, he described what came out of that hospital as a completely different person. He lost his confidence, his words. He said that confidence was his superpower, the thing that made him Kanye, and that when he came out, it was gone. He told Charlemagne he never had empathy before for people who lacked confidence because he always had so much of it. And then suddenly he understood exactly what it felt like to not have it. Word on the street is that the people around him during that period knew he was not well, and some of them used that window very deliberately to reshape his public image, to get him back in line, to make sure the onstage rant stopped. Now, I don't know about y'all, but calling that a simple mental breakdown seems a little too convenient, especially when you look at what he was saying right before it happened. Now, the thing most people don't talk about is what was happening behind the scenes while Kanye was in that hospital. Because while he was in there losing his confidence and being put on a cocktail of medication, the people around him were very, very busy managing the narrative. Jay-Z dropped his 444 album in June 2017. And while people focused on the Beyoncé stuff, there were bars in there that a lot of Kanye's fans read as very pointed commentary about Ye's state of mind. Lines referencing the sunken place. Now, maybe that's just art. But mind you, Jay and Kanye had been best friends, practically brothers, for over a decade. And that friendship had very quietly gone cold. Right around the same time Kanye started getting too vocal. And it wasn't just Jay. Kanye told Charlemagne that the touring money Jay helped arrange through Live Nation had always made him feel like he was in a controlled situation. He said, "I don't need to be controlled. I just need to be inspired and informed." The money created a debt dynamic, and that dynamic created leverage. Word on the street is that leverage was used. Then there's Kim. And listen, I'm not here to drag Kim because this is complicated. But Kanye himself tweeted in 2020 that Kim and Kris Jenner had tried to lock him up. Those tweets were deleted later, and Kim publicly framed every episode he had through the lens of his bipolar disorder, which, yes, he does have. That is not in question. But mind you, Kanye has been very clear that the medication they want him to take changes who he is as a person, changes his creativity, changes his ability to think the way he thinks, and he said he doesn't want that. Cat Williams said it best in his Club Shay Shay interview in January 2024. He talked about how the industry keeps artists strategically off balance, and how anyone who starts naming names too clearly gets the machine turned against them. Dave Chappelle said the same thing years earlier. And now Kanye, all three of them got loud, all three of them paid for it, and all three of them are still out here. Now, by the way, if you are enjoying this and you want to stay in the loop on everything that's happening, subscribe and turn on notifications right now, because we are just getting started. Now, a lot of people think the Adidas situation started with the White Lives Matter shirt. But that is not the whole story, not even close. Kanye had been beefing with Adidas internally for years before any of this went public. He accused them of stealing his designs, and not quietly either. He said it on Drink Champs in 2021. He said it on social media. He said that the company he had helped build into a multi-billion-dollar Yeezy empire was literally taking his ideas, producing them without him, and then cutting him out of the process. He wanted out of that contract long before October 2022. And then in the space of about 6 weeks, everything collapsed at once. Adidas dropped him, Gap dropped him, Balenciaga dropped him. Vogue announced they would never work with him again. His talent agency, CAA, confirmed they had ended the relationship. And then, the one that nobody really talked about enough, MRC, the film company, announced they were shelving a completed documentary about his life. A finished film, one they had already made, gone. Because, in their words, they could not support any platform that amplifies his platform. And get this, Adidas then quietly announced in an earnings call that they were the sole owners of all his Yeezy designs. Every single one. The stuff he created, the colorways, all of it. They owned it. He got dropped and lost his designs in the same breath. Girl, please. Now, word on the street is that some people close to Kanye at the time believed the anti-Semitic spiral, as ugly and indefensible as it was partially provoked and timed to give these companies the exit door they had already been looking for. The contracts were complicated. The relationship was already broken. And suddenly, a very public, very extreme meltdown gave everyone all the justification they needed to walk away clean and keep everything he built. Mind you, Adidas made an estimated $2 billion from Yeezy over the course of that partnership. $2 billion. And when it all ended, Kanye walked away with nothing but the controversies attached to his name. Now tell me that doesn't sound like a very familiar story. Now, as all of this mess was going down, Kanye did exactly what Kanye always does. He kept going. In February 2024, he dropped Vulture's One with Ty Dolla $ign. It debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200, his 11th consecutive #1 album. Mind you, this is after losing the Adidas deal, losing his billionaire status, losing his marriage, losing the documentary, and being banned or restricted from basically every social media platform at some point. And still, #1. Then he took himself to China of all places. Hainan, China, sold-out shows. Thousands of people screaming his music back at him in a country that had previously blacklisted hip-hop culture entirely. And he used that stage to announce a brand new album. A man that the industry spent years trying to contain, performing in the one place on earth that supposedly censors everything. And they let him in. Word on the street is Kanye genuinely believes that the 2016 hospitalization was the moment the machine fully got its hooks in him. That the medication, the managed narrative, the broken relationships, the corporate pressure, all of it was designed to produce a quieter, more manageable version of him. And for a few years, the post-hospital Kanye was noticeably different, softer, less sharp, until he wasn't anymore. He said it himself back in 2018. Today it all changes. We are drugged out. We are following other people's opinions. We are controlled by the media. And whether you agree with everything he says or not, and honestly, a lot of what he says is genuinely hard to defend, that statement landed differently once you know what happened in that hospital room. And honestly, subscribe one more time so you don't miss where this goes next. Because Kanye is not done talking. Not even close. As usual, people had their thoughts, like this person who said, say what you want about Kanye, but the fact that he dropped #1 albums while every major corporation in the world was against him is actually insane. Another person said, the way Adidas claimed ownership of all his designs the second they dropped him tells you everything about how that deal was always designed to work. But now I want to know your thoughts. Do you really think the 2016 hospitalization was the moment the industry used to take control of Kanye? And do you believe he has actually been trying to expose them this whole time? Or did he simply go too far? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.